Norman Siegel. Take it away. We were trying to get back up the answers, but make sure to just speak to the
That's the whole night. First of all, I want to thank Marnie for pulling this together. People here, come back. I thank everybody. Very few people in New York knew who John Zuccotti was. Didn't even know there was a park named for him called Zuccotti Park. 7 years ago, something very special happened in this area. I was saying, was it messy? Was it eclectic? Was it noisy? You bet. But folks, that's what democracy is all about. And what you had here is a very eclectic group of people who were compassionate and idealistic. That sign, I think, sums it up. Another world is possible. The people who came here, from my perspective, were about freedom and justice and equality and fairness for all, not some. Perhaps when the historians and the journalists write about Occupy Wall Street, September 17, 2011, et al., it was the first time, although there were historians and economic people who wrote studies that were on the shelves about income inequality. This was the first time it became mainstream. It was the first time when people framed the issue 99 percenters versus the 1 percenters.
That's right.
The argument was very clear, and it reverberated throughout not only New York, but America and the world. It was about, wait a minute, how can you have a constitutional democratic government when in fact 1% owns most of the wealth? How did that happen? And how do we ameliorate that? I remember a politician who came here, listened to it once or twice, and then ran for mayor on that income inequality. Unfortunately, once that person got in, he forgot about income inequality across the board.
That's right.
Too many of our politicians do that. What was nice about Occupy, it was pure. People were not doing it as stepping stones for political office. If there was a result of that, terrific. But what were the principles and values? Freedom. Freedom of speech. To get up here without mics and have a mic talk back, and people say what they believe in their heart and in their brain. Freedom of the press, especially in the Trump era today, where fake press. We need a free press. And there were people here who were streamlining so people could see everything. Justice. Before I go on, freedom to protest. Unfortunately, I get here this morning, and sure enough, we've got cops at different places. There's no need for those cops here. This is a peaceful protest.
That's right.
But they stereotype us. They are threatened by us. Why are they threatened by us? We believe in democratic principles.
Violently repressive ruling forces and imperial powers who now dominate human social existence, and the deep-seated economic, social, and political relations of exploitation and oppression, of which they are the embodiment and the enforcers. And to achieve this radical revolution, we need science, and we need a scientific approach to making revolution. And so today, as the inequalities, the injustices, the global exploitation that Occupy called out rages, even more intensely than years ago, and at a time when in this country the top dog on the imperialist food chain, we now have a fascist regime in power, a openly white supremacist Trump-tense fascist regime, an openly misogynist and hatefully Christian fascist bigoted regime, a regime that is threatening the world with nuclear weapons and environmental catastrophe. It is more important than ever before that people come back in the streets, stand up and rely on ourselves to resist, not the mechanisms of power, the official channels in this country, but the power of the people in the streets, and that more than ever we get into what it will really take to end this. So I want to challenge and invite all of you of this Sunday's Revolution Books, we are premiering and previewing a new film, a speech by Bob Avakian getting into why we need the actual revolution, why this system cannot be reformed, why you cannot get a few reforms, a few laws passed, or a new face in power. You need to overturn the whole system. You need to radically make a full revolution. And in this speech, Bob Avakian tackles the most challenging question that has vexed revolutionaries and freedom fighters in this country for generations and around the world, which is how a revolution could actually be made in a country as powerful as this one. This is what cries out to be done. This is what humanity needs from us at this dark hour, and this is possible. Come up to Revolution Books this Sunday, 4 o'clock, 132nd and Malcolm X Boulevard in Harlem. Get back in the streets. Raise your voices. Do not stop. In the name of humanity, we must defy those in power. We must resurrect the spirit of Occupy and go much further and actually win. Thank you, sisters and brothers.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Lisa Fithian, and I was here the day we took Liberty Plaza on September 17th, 7 years ago. And it was a beautiful thing. One of the things that Occupy taught us was never doubt that marginalized people can change the world. We've seen it with the First Nations rising up to save the planet since Standing Rock. We've seen the Black Lives Matter movement emerging to help us all reclaim our humanity. When Trump put kids in cages, the Latino community rose up, and with allies, all of a sudden, ICE across the countries were being occupied. The movement here inspired new generations, captured the imagination, changed the national debate, and opened a space for where another world is not only possible, it was now. On this very ground that we stand on today, we built a community that knew how to love one another, that fed one another, took care of our health needs, made sure we had books to read, took care of our children, everything and cleaned the park, made sure we had the clean facilities we needed to be healthy and whole. When we live in this culture of power over that is breeding death and destruction, destroying our humanity, taking our livelihood every day, without these models and moments and movements of life and inspiration, we would have little hope left. But Occupy changed that, as has every other movement that has been willing to throw down. And the one thing I want to say about Occupy that was also important and essential to remember, we were not afraid to take direct action. We were not afraid to take and hold space. We were not afraid to say, shut it down. Whether it's Wall Street, corporate lawyers, banks, the police. There's no room in our world for that violence against our humanity. And it means we have to stand up and fight back. We have a long way to go in this country. We walk in the legacy and the footsteps of many, many movements before us. And our ancestors are with us. And we can see what has been growing. More and more people are waking up. You know, the radicals, we got to get more back in the game. The liberals are rising up, bless their hearts, as they say in the South. But everybody in this next period, like I'll just say right now, I'm going down to D.C. on Thursday because the Kavanaugh confirmation has got to be shut the fuck down. Yeah. I mean, this is serious stuff. We can't just, there's no one way, there's many places we have to fight, from the streets to the halls of power. We have to stop throwing each other under the bus. There's not enough of us, we don't have the resources, but together, our imagination, our hearts, our creativity, the gifts we all bring, change the world. And we're doing it every day. I'm just so lucky to feel like I got to be in New York on this anniversary. I didn't even sort of realize it until this morning, and I was like, I've got to be there. I'm actually leaving the city as soon as I'm done here. But I want to say that, wherever we are in this country, whatever community we are in, there are kindred spirits that are fighting back. and this is a global movement. And I just, the solidarity we've had with one another, the victories for working class people, for those homeowners that lost their home, for the Latinos who've been, encaged, for the Muslims who've been tried to be banned, from the black folks who face police violence every day, from the indigenous people who continue to face genocide. Right, this is all real, and those of us with white skin privilege, we have to continue to do what we can to keep our skin in the game, because our liberation is bound to everyone else's. We are as sick from white supremacy as we ourselves enact it every day. Everybody get out of your homes, get into the streets, rise up, fight back, occupy, shut shit down, and we are going to make a better world every day. Thank you.